Former Stellenbosch University student Theuns du Toit will face prosecution. Du Toit was expelled from the university earlier this year after he urinated on a fellow student, Babalo Ndwayana's belongings at the Huismare residence. The National Prosecuting Authority says Du Toit will face charges of malicious damage to property and criminal injury. Let's get reaction from Babalo Ndwayana's father, Mkhuseli Kaduka, and his lawyer, Nomonde Qhalishe. Thank you very much, Mr. Kaduka and Mr. Qhalishe, for joining us this evening. I'll start with you, Mr. Kaduka. If you could tell us, we know it's been a very long, drawn-out process since May this year. Are you happy that Du Toit is finally being prosecuted?
Good evening to you and your listeners. Yes, it has been a long and drawn-out process. As we expected, we would encounter such obstacles, but then we knew my team of lawyers that we had to be resolute and steadfast. So I've been patiently waiting.
We are facing some challenges with your sound. I'm going to come to you, Ms. Qhalishe, in the meantime. If you could tell us about the charges that Mr. Du Toit is facing and whether you're confident at this stage that that prosecution will be successful.
Good evening to you and your listeners, Andy. Yes, from the get-go, we've always been confident that this is the direction that the matter should be headed. There has been sufficient evidence that was collected by the SAPS already months ago in May when the incident happened. So we are happy with the direction that it is going. These are the charges that were opened by Babalo, and truly believe that the evidence that the police is in possession of will support a guilty finding of these charges.
Mr. Kaduka, just coming back to you, we know at one stage there was discussions about not pressing charges and sorting the matter out via the university's disciplinary processes internally. Did you want to push right from the outset for these charges to be laid?
Oh, yes. If you will recall, that has been my position from the onset, that criminal charges should be laid against the perpetrator so as to stem this unbecoming behavior from ever being repeated again. So, yes, we have been on that point from the onset.
How is Babalo doing at the moment at university?
He's busy preparing for his exams, and I would appreciate that this not affect him preparing for his exams. Hence, I would ideally love any communication be done through our lawyers.
Absolutely, understandably. It's a difficult time of the year for students, naturally.
Yes. But overall, he claims to be okay. You know, he still wants us to be strong. He wants to be strong for us, you know, knowing that he's there and we're here. But yeah, knowing my son.
Ms. Qhalishe, coming back to you, how has the university interacted with yourself as the legal counsel for Babalo and his family in terms of trying to bring this to an amicable or a resolute solution for all parties concerned?
Well, since June 2022 this year, when the hearing was scheduled, after the events that took place after the hearing, we had no communication from the university directly to us. Even the news that Theuns has decided to appeal, we had no information regarding that. We've recently been contacted by the university to inform us that the appeal hearing will be sitting during this week of 18th and 20th of October. But that's about it. The communication that we've got from the university directly to us. This is despite us having said any communication in this matter must run through us as the legal representatives of Babalo.
This has been a very divisive case in South Africa, lots of public opinion on the matter. Why do you think it's so important that this matter has been escalated to a court of law with criminal prosecution?
It's divisive, and yes, you are correct that there has been a lot of division from the public. But we are of the strong view that, Babalo as a South African citizen deserves the same treatment that anybody in his position would get. I think for us as a law clinic, the UNISA Law Clinic, our stance is that everybody before the law is equal. And what Theans did to Babalo is degrading, it's grave, and deserves punishment. So we do not believe that just because he is a student, just because he is of a different color, then he must be treated in a better position than anybody else who would be in this position would be treated. So that is our stance. We want to see justice for Babalo. It is not that we want to see somebody else's future being destroyed, as a lot of public comment has come to that effect. But what has happened to Babalo, who is the person that we represent, is grave, and it's affected him negatively in so many ways that we cannot repeat over and above what we have already said. And that is what we truly believe that must be dealt with. Actions such as this, irrespective of who it is that acts in this manner, that kind of action has to be dealt with.
Mr. Kaduka, have you had any communication from Theans du Toit or his legal representatives directly to apologize in some way or to try and make up for what's happened?
None whatsoever. They have never done that.
And tell us, a lot of people, as Ms. Qalisha was saying, they're worried about ruining a young man's life, and in this case, that be Theans du Toit. But let's talk about the impact that this has had since May on Babalo and what the incident and the publicity around the incident had on him. And especially being a student at university, we know the kind of pressures young people put on each other. What has this impacted on him?
Babalo is such a timid character. If you would meet him, he's not an outspoken person or whatever. But then he has been forced out of his shell, and he has had to deal with matters that are beyond what the core of the reason that he went there to Stellenbosch to do. He went to Stellenbosch to be a student, just a normal student like any other student. He did not invite this upon himself. But then, as some of the people outside there would claim that we're trying to ruin a young boy's future. My view to that is that, from the onset, as I said, that for each and every action, there are consequences. So this is the result of the boy's actions. And that is what I have taught my son as well. He should be able to face the consequences of every action that he takes.
Can you tell us, will you be attending court?
I'll still have to ascertain what dates, where the court dates are, and then shuffle my work dates and all that.
Well, thank you very much to the both of you for speaking to us this evening. That was Babalo Ndwayana's father, Mkhuseli Kaduka, and his lawyer, Nomonde Qalisha, talking to us as the NPA announces that it will be prosecuting Theans du Toit on 2 charges, that of malicious damage to property and criminal injury. We'll have